Help me hit 7,000 subscribers. Support the video with a like and share your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. Thank you. When I first met Claire, I thought she was chaos in human form. Bright, unpredictable, and endlessly fascinating. She had that energy that made every ordinary moment feel like a movie scene. We'd been together for almost 2 years, and in that time I learned 2 things about her. She loved excitement and she hated silence. I was the opposite. I liked quiet mornings, routine, and the kind of comfort that didn't need constant adrenaline to stay alive. Somehow we balanced each other, or maybe I just convinced myself that we did. Things started shifting a few months ago. She began spending more time with her friends, staying out late, answering texts hours later with, "Sorry." Lost track of time. It wasn't the lateness that bothered me, it was the tone, detached, cold, like I was becoming background noise. Then one afternoon, while I was finishing some paperwork at the office, she sent me a text that made my stomach drop. "Hey, just a heads up. I'm going to Miami this weekend. With Mark. Don't overthink it. Mark." Her ex. I just stared at the screen for a full minute, trying to decide if this was a joke, a test, or the end of something I hadn't realized was ending. Every instinct screamed at me to call her, demand an explanation, make her see how insane that sounded, but I didn't. Instead, I took a deep breath and replied with one line, "Have fun." That was it. No anger, no sarcasm, just 2 words that cost me every ounce of restraint I had. She didn't reply. Not that day, not the next. I spent the weekend in quiet, cleaned the apartment, worked out, went for long drives. My friends told me I was crazy for staying calm, but honestly, I wasn't calm. I was just done. Something inside me had clicked into place. I wasn't the jealous type. I was the finished type. When she got back, she didn't mention the trip. No photos, no stories, no explanations. I didn't ask either. We went through the motions of daily life like 2 strangers living in the same house. The silence between us wasn't heavy anymore, it was hollow. A few days later, she started acting strange. Nervous. Checking her phone constantly. Pacing when she thought I wasn't looking. When I asked if everything was okay, she just said, "Yeah, fine." But her voice shook. Then one night, around 11 p.m., I got another text. "Can we talk tomorrow? It's important." I didn't reply right away. Instead, I stared at the message for a while and then turned off my phone. Whatever she needed to say could wait. The next morning, I left early for work. When I got back that evening, she wasn't home. A part of me wondered if she'd just left for good. The thought didn't even hurt anymore. It just felt inevitable. But a week after that first text, the Miami text, everything changed. It was a Sunday afternoon. I was sitting on the couch watching a game when I heard the door slam open so hard it rattled the frame. Claire burst in out of breath, her eyes wide and panicked like she'd seen a ghost. She dropped her purse on the floor and said my name in a voice that didn't sound like hers. "Ethan, we need to talk. Right now." I muted the TV and looked at her. Her hands were shaking, her face pale. "What's going on?" I asked, though a part of me already knew something was wrong. She took a step closer, eyes glossy with tears. "It's about Miami," she said, her voice cracking. Something happened. I didn't move. Didn't speak. I just waited. She hesitated, biting her lip like she was trying to find the right place to start. "Please just don't hate me." I made a mistake. For a second, I felt something cold rise in my chest. Not anger, just finality. Whatever she was about to say, it wasn't going to fix anything. I stayed quiet, letting her words hang in the air. I'd learned something over the years. People confess better when there's silence. Claire sank onto the couch, holding her head in her hands. "Mark kissed me," she whispered. Then after a pause, "No, that's not even it." I kissed him back. She looked up, waiting for a reaction, but I had none left to give. My heart didn't race, my hands didn't shake. The truth had already existed inside me long before she said it. This was just confirmation. I nodded slowly. "All right," her face twisted, confused by my calmness. "That's it? Just all right? What do you want me to say?" I asked softly. That I didn't see this coming? That I'm surprised? She stood up, pacing. "Ethan, it didn't mean anything. It was stupid, it was just closure?" I interrupted. "Nostalgia? One last spark?" She froze, and I knew I'd hit it. That look of guilt wasn't about the act. It was about the realization that she'd already lost me before Miami. I thought I needed to know if there was anything still there," she said quietly. "But when it happened, all I felt was wrong. I couldn't stop thinking about you. I came home early because I realized I'd made a huge mistake." I leaned back, staring at the floor. "Did you?" She blinked. "What do you mean?" "Did you make a mistake going to Miami," I said, "or a mistake getting caught?" Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Tears welled up, but I didn't move to comfort her. That part of me, the part that rushed to fix, to forgive, to make her feel better, was gone. She sat back down, crying quietly. "I don't want to lose you." "You already did," I said. Not out of spite. Just truth. For a while, neither of us spoke. The only sound was the faint hum of the refrigerator and the distant noise of traffic outside. The life we'd built, the laughter, the late-night drives, the morning coffee rituals, all of it felt like it had happened to someone else. She finally broke the silence. "What happens now?" I stood, walked to the kitchen, and poured myself a glass of water. "Nothing dramatic," I said. "I'm not going to yell or throw things or post about it online. But I'm also not going to pretend I can unhear what you just told me." Her voice cracked. "Ethan, please. I can fix this. I swear I can." I turned back to her. "No, you can't, because this wasn't an accident, Claire. You didn't trip and fall into nostalgia. You packed your bags, flew out there, and decided it was worth the risk. That wasn't a mistake. That was a choice." She started sobbing harder. "I love you." I almost smiled. Almost. "You loved the version of me who would have forgiven you." I walked past her and into the bedroom. She followed, panicked, as I took an overnight bag from the closet and started packing a few things. "Where are you going?" she asked, voice trembling. "To get some space," I said simply. "I think we both need it." She reached out to touch my arm, but I stepped back. "Don't," I said quietly. "Not now." When I zipped the bag shut, she was still crying. I paused at the door and looked back at her. The woman who once made every room brighter now looked small, fragile, almost unfamiliar. "I meant what I texted," I told her. "I hope you had fun." Her sob caught in her throat as I closed the door behind me. Outside, the night was cool and still. I sat in the car for a few minutes, staring at the steering wheel, trying to feel something: anger, sadness, regret. But there was just a strange calm, because the truth is, closure doesn't always come from apologies. Sometimes it comes from realizing you finally stopped needing one. A week later, she texted me again. Dozens of messages, missed calls, voice notes that started with tears and ended with promises. I didn't reply. Not once. I moved into a small apartment downtown, close to work, where mornings were quiet and predictable again. My friends asked how I was doing, and I told them the truth. Lighter. One evening, I got home, sat on the balcony, and watched the sun dip behind the buildings. My phone buzzed once more, her name on the screen. I stared at it for a long time before turning the phone face down. She had gone to Miami with her ex. I had sent one line, and that line ended up saying everything I never needed to explain. Because sometimes peace isn't in winning them back, it's in never going back at all.